Welcome to something to talk about.
Yeah, really loud.
Welcome to something to talk about.
Hi, welcome. It just got darker in here. Welcome to Something to Talk About. My name is Taco, and yeah, this is that show where I just let weird things like that go, and I don't edit, and I definitely don't stop the train. So yeah, let's go. Do you guys know what this is? It's one of them reviews, one of those TV shows. Actually, one TV show and one episode of that TV show. That's right. This is House of the Dragon, Season 2, Episode 5, Regent. One of those TV show reviews that I've been trying to do every week. Hey, this one's actually going to come on Tuesday. Yes, I'm excited. So right away, spoilers if you haven't seen the new House of the Dragon episode. I'm literally going to cover everything in it, and then I'm going to cover the differences between the show and the books, because that's what I do. I'm a book guy. I talk about the books, and then I started talking about the differences between the books and the shows, and now I'm just talking about the show, but I'm still squeezing in some book stuff. Yeah. All right. First things first. So spoilers, right? You guys heard it? Cool. Like and subscribe. YouTube junk. Dead queens burned king. Beautiful shot of Driftmark right away, and a grieving Corlys. Yeah. The show's got these amazing, I'm going to bring them up a few times. There's at least 3, but amazing wide shots of this beautiful fantasy world. Yeah, we did get a few of those in Game of Thrones, but I feel like it was few and far between. Really, George's world is so great. Like, I hope if we ever see Castle Rock, we get to see Castle Rock, right? And this is first of at least 3 of the location shots that we get to see just Driftmark, and it's gorgeous. There's a couple more. So we get to see a grieving Corlys, the sea snake, with a jump to a grieving Rhaenyra. So everyone's feeling, Rhaenys' death. Spoilers from last episode, and then we get one more funeral for political theater. So the Greens, like, whenever the Greens are like, hey, somebody died, they're like, make a parade. It worked last time. Come on, let's do a parade. They love funerals for political theater. That's the Greens thing. And guess what? This one doesn't work out for him as well. Is the little Jaehaerys is. Yeah, this time it's the head of Meleys the Red Queen, so the dragon. Though they claim Aegon killed the dragon, the crowd does seem somber. Yeah. Gawain explains that if it was a victory, questions that if it's a victory. Yeah, because Kristen Cole's like, oh, well, show them the dragon. Will be like, Aegon did this. And he's like, it's a victory. And then he goes, oh, man, this doesn't feel like a victory. Gawain's like, this isn't a victory. It's something like that. I might be getting it wrong. But yeah, no, he's like, oh, these guys don't realize it's a victory. And Gawain's like, this doesn't feel like a victory. I mean, our king almost died. Is that a victory? All right. Yeah, the Gawain questions it's a victory. Hugh is also there. And he says, it's just meat. So one guy goes, I thought the dragons were like gods or whatever. And then Hugh Hammer says it's just meat, signifying the death of the mythical status of the dragons. They are not gods. They are just meat, right? And that's really important because literally the entire... Here, I know I've gotten comments about my crooked glasses. You guys are just going to have to deal with it. I don't care. But since the beginning of the Targaryen dynasty, they've had to project themselves as being more than just human in order to act like Valyrians. And by that, I mean they want to marry their sisters. I mean, who doesn't? And they also want to, they want to be considered gods among men, essentially. And one thing they had to help was their dragons. Old King Jaehaerys did this doctrine of exceptionalism, where he pretty much like had all these preachers go out and tell everybody that they are more than men and that we shouldn't judge them with the rules that we judge normal men. So all that is important, and the dragons are part of that mythos, right? They have dragons. They're, quote, in control of them. Of course, we know they're not in control of them, but that's part of it. And that's what makes Targaryens gods. Cole isn't that smart. He doesn't understand themes, right? He thinks that themes are for the third grade book reports, right? He doesn't get the importance of the mythos of dragons. So when he just walks down the street with Melee's head, everyone's like, so they can die? So they're just meat? They're just monsters? Good to know. That won't come up later. Yeah, so big deal. So Alicent stands with Aemon looking at her son and his new dagger. Yeah, he's got one of those prophecy daggers. I got one too. I just don't show it off. The King's burned. Yeah, I'm moving past that look, but you see the look. The look is like, you kill your brother? Is that a brother? Did you burn your brother? What's up? What's up with that face? You burned your brother, right? Come on, man. So yeah. They have to sneak in the body of the crispy, not to be confused with Crispy Cole. This is Crispy King, right? And his crispy body gets smuggled in, and then the maesters go to work with him right away, and it's grim. He's very well done, the Kentucky Fried Chicken style, right? So over his brother's mangled body, Aemon brings up who will rule. He's like, so am I in charge? What's up? And yeah, the other Crispy tells, not the Crispy King, but the Crispy Cole, tells Alicent that they took the castle. So she's like, what happened? He's like, we took Rook's Rest. And she's like, no, really, what happened? And he pretty much avoids all questions, especially the ones about Aemon, right? So he left men to hold the castle and also over the barely alive Sunfire. So Sunfire is alive. The way that he said it, it's like it's long into its death, which I think is just a flowery way of saying dying. Okay. So long it's to its death. What's that mean? He's still alive. What? What are you talking about? All right. So yeah, to watch over Blackfire. Yeah, all right. Before we get back to Team Black, yeah, she's like pretty much it's like, so Aemon did this, and Crispy Cole completely tries to like avoid the situation, right? He doesn't want to say really what happened. He answers like pronoun games. What happened? We did it. What'd you do? Won what? It? Like he ignores it really. Hey, I did it too. So where was I? Back at Team Black. Elfur de Brune is doing the same thing, complaining and being sexist. They argue like always. Honestly, I'm coming to hate how repetitive the Black Council is. It's kind of a lot. I like this episode. This episode isn't bad by any means, but I do have criticisms for how repetitive not only the council scenes are, but like 50% of this episode is people at a council being sexist. And I get it. They are sexist. Sexist society. 1,000,000%. I'm not saying, oh man, it's so woke. I'm not saying any of that stupid crap, right? What I'm saying is it gets repetitive. So much of this episode is literally the Green Council or the Black Council, and a woman's like, I'm in charge, and they're like, are you? But you're a woman. That's like half this episode. And that's fine if it was some of this episode. It just got really repetitive, especially since so much of the Black Council scenes before this episode have just been that. That's a small, I don't criticize this show much, and I got a lot of praise to give this show later on, so don't be thinking I hated this episode. I'm just saying, we get it. We plant driven in. Yeah, so where was I saying? Jace Jace and Bela have a pretty good scene, right? So they talk. JC is saying he must act. He realizes that they need to go to the frays because the Cregan Stark's army needs to actually, make it. He realizes that the fray, he needs to go to the frays, and he leaves to go speak to them. Lucky for him, old Walder Frey isn't there. Yeah, no, he's not. I was very lucky. All right. Brackens! Jump to Daemon, quote, negotiating with the Brackens on Dragonback. The Brackens are insulting the Blackwoods. I said backwoods. That's hilarious. They're kind of backwood, huh? They are. He's just straight up insulting. He does not care. Amos Bracken don't give a crap. He's brave and stupid. So there's a shot as Amos Bracken rides away with Craxes behind him, and this was a cool trick. So he's like, if you defy me, we burn you. And Amos is like, peace. And then he rides away, and we see the shot of him riding in this giant dragon head behind him, like, and then it cuts. That was cool. So it cut to so it lingers on the shot, making us think that it lingers to show him get burned, but it switches. They could have done that scene without that linger, but when he just goes away and there's a dragon, we're like, all right, he's leaving, and then when it holds it, you're like, oh, he's about to burn, and then it doesn't. It was actually a really cool bait and switch. I liked it. All right, enough about that. Editing. Surprisingly, Daemon spares them. So he's saying, I came here to raid swords, not corpses. Wow, mercy. If you guys have seen the episode, you know that don't waste. Willem and Daemon discuss how to persuade them. And Daemon gives them the good old wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And it cuts out before you can say, son for son. Oh my God. Daemon loves his war crimes. All right. Finally, Jane Eyre. Hey, look, and the Eyrie. And it looks very pretty. This is that other shot. There's this beautiful shot of the Eyrie, and it looks different, but it's very pretty. I love it. I love these big, huge, show us the fantasy world. Like we're in a fantasy world. It doesn't have to be dingy and dark and muddy and everyone says F words and there's boobs every episode, right? Like, we all love that stuff. But show us the gorgeous fantasy world, right? I'm happy. I'm happy when we can see some of that junk. I'm just using junk a lot today. So where were we? So it looks, Jane is mad. Jane Eyre is mad that the dragons are hatchlings, and I don't blame her. So that's pretty much the whole scene. She's mad at Rhaenyra, and Rhaenyra gets it. She's like, yeah, I tried to tell Rihanna. I can't even talk anymore. Wow. I tried to tell my sister, aunt, mom, Rhaenyra, but she's like, no, just go with the small dragons anyways. She's like, I told her that you wouldn't be happy. All right. So where was I? Hey, we finally get the real Black Council. Rhaenyra and Mysaria. Yeah, the even smaller council. Rhaenyra is over the council as well. She's like, yeah, dude, they kind of suck. Lady Miz, I'm gonna start calling her Miz, like that wrestler, but she's not. She's Lady Miz. It's spelled with a Y. Realizes Kristen's mistake, showing off the dead dragon. She speaks about using the small folk. We see an agent for her leave, right? Somebody leaves. Somebody works for her. Rhaenyra meets with Bela, giving her some almost mother bonding. So they just speak about Rhaenys and Meleys. A funny story about Daemon being mad that Rhaenys claimed her father's dragon, but he claimed mad that she didn't claim her father. She claimed his mother's dragon, But then I wrote it wrong here, but he claimed her father's dragon as payback. He's like, I always wanted Melees. And she's like, I'm taking Melees. He's like, all right, Caraxes is cooler anyways. Caraxes is cooler. I love Melees, don't get me wrong. Loved. But Caraxes is awesome. Awesome. He's the goodest boy. Where was I? A touching scene about how awesome Rhaenys is. And then she gives Baela a box. We don't see what's in the box. I'm not going to make 7 jokes. I know I could. We don't see what's in the box. You expect me to make a Brad Pitt reference, but I'm not doing it. Instead, I'm going to make a Hellraiser reference. She gives her the lament configuration, and then she meets the Cenobites. No joke here. That's the next scene. All right. No girls allowed. Ugh. Jump cut to Daemon tripping balls. This time thinking about banging someone. And damn, it was hot until it wasn't. Because the chick is his dead mom, Alicent Targaryen. Bro. I mean, like, Edifice complex easily, but also it was said that he was his mom's favorite, but he was really little when she died. She was only 24 when she died, giving birth to their, I believe, sister, but she didn't last long, or maybe it was another brother. I can't remember, but third kid, she died in childbirth when she was only 24. Alyssa Targaryen's fantastic. I love one of my favorite Targaryens. And it took me a while. I was like, am I supposed to recognize? Is that Emma Aaron? No, that's not Emma Aaron. And I'm like, who is? And then she's like, drops like, oh, by the way, you like banging your dead mommy? And he's like, ah! That's not how it happens. That would be really funny. I'm your mom. That's pretty much how it happens. Yeah, that's some strong acid. Don't be taking it. You're not supposed to do hallucinogenic drugs when you're not in a good state of mind. Trust me. I know. All right. Where was I? Simon asks about his duck, and it's actually dinner. So this wasn't a dirty dream. This was a dirty daydream. So Goose and Duck and Allie's Rivers. All right, so he's eating goose and he's eating duck, and Allie's Rivers gives him the hard stare. And yeah, well, you know what we know what we say about Allie's Rivers, right?
You're a witch, and you made it disappear with your evil magic.
She uses evil magic a lot this episode. That's my witch. That's my "you're a witch" video for you guys. Because yeah, she's a witch. She does witch stuff. Simon tells Daemon the progress of trying to make the castle a castle again, and it makes bat poop jokes. And it says the bat poop is just too high of quantity. It's really funny. I love Simon Strong. No joke there. I just do. They talk of hiring some folk, but Simon has no money. They're like, well, why don't we hire some people? And he's like, well, do you have any money? Larys took all of his money. I mean, it technically was all of Larys's money. He's the Lord of Harrenhal. And we all know how well that job goes. Yeah. All right. Larys took all the money. Simon and Daemon finally clear up his title. He's like, all right, see you later, Prince. King consort. Do we have to say the consort part? I mean, it's just so long. It's not too long. Yes, we do have to. Deal with it. So yeah, so they finally talk about his title. Yay, the Green Council. Yay. Simon and Daemon. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Maester Orwell doubts Aegon will ever wake up. Aw. They then discuss who will rule. Alicent claims she can since she has for Viserys. Ironrod says the realm was at peace then, and it don't count because now it's wartime. They then suggest Aemon. Right in front of Aemon, Alicent rejects it. She's like, Aemon? No, he's ugly. Not doing that. Orwell speaks for Alicent. He's like, well, what about Alicent? Ironrod just drops the subtext, and he just says it. He's like, she's a she, and we don't need a she, we need a he, and she's a she. What are we even doing here? yeah, I kind of love that they finally just like, well, you know, you're not qualified. Oh, you have burdens that you're a girl. Like they just say it finally. They're like, all right, you want to hear it? You don't got one of these. That's all that matters. It's all that matters in this world. Yeah. So, yay. Where was I? Yay for awful sexist societies. Yeah. She claims Aemon is suited for battle, not rule. Some horse that wandered into the small council says that they need to show strength, and she's like a woman. Women aren't strong. Larry's agrees that Alicent is a woman. He's like, yes, I see it. And she is a woman. She has amazing feet, but she's definitely a woman. Then he asks Cole, he's like, Cole, what do you think? And he says that Aemond is next. He's like, yeah, it should be Aemond. So they all decide. So Aemond gets up and he grabs his brother's ball, and starts the meeting for real. He sits down and he's like, all right, where were we? Alicent feels crushed. So Olivia Cook is amazing because there's this like really huge long take on her face as you hear Aemon in the background. It's a really cool shot, guys. And then yeah, Aemon, it ends with Aemon going, now cut those he doesn't choke on his own words. Cut those rat catchers down. And they do. Back to the super lovable and relatable Hugh Hammer, lols. If you guys don't know what happens with Hugh Hammer, maybe I need to just stop making references to how adorable it is that they're like, Hugh Hammer's cool. Book readers are like, he's not cool. And they're like, but like him, he's relatable. He's got a daughter. You have a daughter. I do have a daughter. But yeah. Can't bamboozle me. I know how it ends. You can't be like, hey, Hugh Hammer, he seems cool. I'm like, read the book. He's not. Deal with it. Is that spoilers, me saying that he's not cool? I don't think it is. His wife says that they need to go because this city sucks and they're not getting paid by the king, and it's lame, and the king's lame, and Hammer is lame Hugh's lame that he's waiting on the lame king. Everything's lame. The dog is still following cheese. Oh, so there is some like symbolism here, right? Because like the dog is super like still loves his former owner, right? Cheese, even though Cheese has like kicked him and then he's like come back and he like misses him and he follows his dead body around. There's like some symbolism like this kick dog thing with like Kristen Cole and Alicent, right? Like he's kind of a dog and subordinate, and maybe he's getting sick of that, and she has like kind of kicked him a couple times. Well, maybe just this scene, but he kicked her first. Is that how dogs work? During the council, you guys remember it just happened. Anyways, whatever, symbolism. Cole tells Alicent about the horrors of dragons fighting dragons. They bicker as Cole tries to explain the reality of the situation. Alicent doesn't like it, and she says, don't use my name, yo. And yeah, Hugh attempts to flee the city, and the gates get closed. And then they learn that Aemon is now Prince Regent, not King Regent. Prince Regent and Protector of the Realm. In the books, I think he gets the title of Prince Regent. He definitely gets the title of Protector of the Realm, but he doesn't choose to wear a crown, so he is never technically crowned as king, just Protector of the Realm. So where was I? Yeah, the crowd literally yells for meat. They're like, we need meat. We meet we meet Frey's, who is clearly hesitant and claim that they fear Vhagar. They're like, yeah, but if we go Team Black, Vhagar's gonna show up and make one of our castles gone, and instead of having two castles, we'll just have one castle. Jace claims that Daemon will protect them and stuff, and they're like, oh, so you've hung out with Daemon? And he's like, yeah, I mean, he knows I'm here. He's subordinate to me. We're friends, but the kind that I'm in charge of. All lies. Lies. Where was I? Yeah, they meet on the bridge, and the shot is awesome. Here's the other one. The twins have never looked so much better. Like, this shot is so cool. It's so cool. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. All right, where was I? Yeah, Jace. Nope, I already said it. Yeah, there's the meet on the bridge, and it's awesome. So then back to Harrenhal. Daemon chops wood, thinking he's in that movie The Witch, where he's just shirtless and chopping woods. And Allie's is just messes with with him, like she's just messing with his head, and she looks at his hand and tries to give him a lesson in the importance of innocent lives. And then Daemon says this.
I'm a Targaryen. My trick's gonna work on me. Only money.
Yeah, he says I'm a Targaryen and stop using mind tricks on me. Just give me some money. So they can hire people, right? He claims that they will not follow Rhaenyra because she's a woman. Yeah, this episode just keeps driving that home. Yeah, as I said, it does not let off that theme. It's definitely the theme of the episode. Yeah, it is also, don't get me wrong, people are going to go, it's the theme of the whole show. It is the theme of the whole show. You are right. I am not complaining for any reasons besides, like, we get it. It's, if they drove any theme home this many times in one episode, I go, yeah, I got it. Tony Soprano's a monster. I get it. You know, like, whatever the theme is. I'm not mad that that's the theme. It's definitely one of the themes of the whole show is, like, it's a horrible sexist society. And I agree. I say it every chance I got. So, yeah. But yeah, this episode does not take their foot off the but she's a woman pedal the whole episode. Yeah. Where was I? Then she then mentions his mother, which she's like, oh, well, you go bang your mother or something, whatever she says. That's all she says. Freaking him out. And then Simon drops that the Blackwoods have won and took the Brackens. Thank you, Simon. The Hand. Bela now gets a cool scene with Corlys. This scene is fantastic. The box is revealed, and it turns out it's not the Lamech configuration. It's the hand pendant. So they're trying to name Corlys, or she's trying to name Corlys the hand of the queen. Corlys says, Rhaenyra. I keep saying Rhaenyra. I've said her name a million times, and I'm just struggling for some reason. Maybe I've been listening to too much Rihanna. Charity took my wife. Bela drops a truth bomb that Rhaenys was far more than just his wife, right? And that she died in Dragonfire, and that is a worthy death. Yeah. She's like, hey, I get that you miss your wife, but she wasn't just a wife, all right? She was the queen that never was. She was a dragon rider. She was one of the coolest characters on this show. Show a little bit of respect, Corlys. That's what she said. Yeah, and as she's like, here, have the hand, she starts to walk away, and then he's like, granddaughter, will you be my heir? And she says, I am blood and fire. Driftmark must pass to salt and sea. And she ain't wrong. Salt and sea. Rhaenyra sends Alfred Brune, you know, that lame one, to Harrenhal, getting rid of him and hopefully getting Daemon to speak to her. Two birds with one Brune. Or broom? Oh, Brune. More Daemon in the Weirwood bed. Here we go. Simon wakes him up to meet with the River Lords at the Owl of the Wolf. What time is it? The Owl of the Wolf. So like 10 o'clock? No, it's later than that, right? Daemon scolds them for being too loud when Dad is sleeping. We learn that the Blackwoods did a bunch of war crimes. Those war crimes. You got those crimes. Yeah, to turn the Brackens. Yeah, so I've always been like a Blackwood guy, not a Bracken guy. As of late, two things have come to me. I used to always like the Blackwoods more than the Brackens. And then I did this giant tournament that I'm not talking about now, but I did a huge tournament. And then I learned more people absolutely love the Blackwoods, like a lot. And they did really good in the Riverland portion of this gigantic 128 character bracket I did. And then I'm like, I'm a contrarian. I like the underdog a little bit. So I'm like, well, maybe the Brackens aren't too bad. And I'm like, oh, the Brackens kind of suck. The Blackwoods definitely suck here. Okay, this show, along with me kind of learning that it was never really I thought it was like 50-50, right? No, people like the Blackwoods way more. In this episode's like, no, the Blackwoods are awful because they're listening to Daemon, but still. And I'm not Team Bracken, but I don't think I'm Team Blackwood either. I'm going to vote independent. That's it. Whoever the third party candidate of the Bracken and Blackwood feud is. House Justman. Oh, somebody's going to get that joke. It's in a Song of Ice and Fire reference. Okay, where was I? Yeah, there's been a bunch of war crimes, and the other lords are just pissed. Everyone's pissed. Oh, and if that's not bad enough, the ghost of his wife is nagging him. Oh my God, she's dead and she's still nagging. I'm kidding, guys. Just joking. Where was I? They speak of the death of Jaehaerys. Daemon claims it is a lie. And then it ends with them calling him an interloper and a tyrant. He looks into the fire and it jumps to Rhaenyra looking in the same fire, right? It's kind of like when Joe Dirt would look at the moon and wondering if his parents are looking at the same moon, and it makes him closer to his parents. What am I getting at? I'm getting at Joe Dirt's horrible, abusive parents are just as bad as Daemon. Yep. Look at a clown. Okay. Sorry. The informant of the Miz arrives in King's Landing trying to get in. And then she goes to talk to somebody. Somebody from last season. Somebody we recognize that Aemond was awful to. Corlys looks at his hand holding a hand. And then Aemond looks at a chair, and Helena looks at Aemond, who's looking at a chair. Everyone's looking at fires, hands, or chairs, or Aemond's. Lots of looking going on. All right. Corlys looks at his hand. All right. I already did that. Yeah, and then Helena goes, "Was it worth the price?" And and then so it cuts over to a burned Aemon showing us the price. Aemon is half dead, and like Alicent's over there, like, okay, I have to hang out with him a little bit, even though he's like mostly dead. And then she's like, all right, I give up. And then she starts to walk away, and he goes, Mommy. Oh my God. Don't make me feel sad for Aemon. I hate that guy. Aemon. Aegon. Am I calling him Aegon? Aegon. Aegon's half dead. How long was I saying Aemon? That's different Targaryens. Mother and son. Jace returns home, and she's like reading about the first queen, Visenya. She's one of the sister wife queens, so she's tied for being the first queen of the Targaryen dynasty. He says that she wasn't a good role model, and she's like, why not? And he's like, all he says is, it was a long time ago. Yeah. Yeah. Just look at her later life during the time of Maegor's reign. I know I got all these Maegor the Cruel Defender fans. You're all sick, but they're out there. You're like, now you're going to be like, Visenya did nothing wrong too. But yeah, it's like, well, what's wrong with that? Well, you're only reading the first page. Flip there, and there's some war crimes. Yep, more war crimes. She did some war crimes too. Maybe that's just how they do war here. So she drops that she knows that he went to the twins. He like starts to walk away and she's like, so how them phrase? And he's like, oh, you knew? She's like, yeah, queen, dude. What are you talking about? Baelor told, I don't know, did Baelor tell? He tells her, and then she thanks him. Hey, she's clearly upset, but she at least thanked him. That's cool. She talks about the frustration of being queen. She's like, this is actually really hard, and everyone's kind of giving me a lot of crap, and I'm not, it's really difficult. They argue over his role. They fear the rule of Aemon One Eye because he's not in charge. They come to the realization that it's not dragons that they lack, but it's dragon riders. And Jace mentions the dragon seeds. Finally, and it ends with Rhaenyra saying it's a mad thought. Yeah, I was waiting the whole episode for that. I thought that's what's going to be this episode. I didn't realize that this would be such a bridge episode, not a bridge phrase. I didn't know this would be such a the twins episode, but it kind of was. And I didn't hate it by any means. I have my small criticisms, like I already stated, but still really good episode. There isn't really an episode this week or this season yet that I dislike. All right, let's talk about some differences. Emails. Amos Frey never met with Daemon, well, or the other one, because that he's not a Willem Blackwood's not in the books, but in the books he never meets with Daemon because he was struck down by a weirwood arrow at the burning mill, possibly allegedly fired by, does it say fired? Loosed. You don't fire arrows, right? A weirwood arrow by Alicent Blackwood. Also, Daemon never orders war crimes on the brackets, as far as we know. I guess it is mentioned that the Blackwoods get a little war crimey, but I don't think we never hear about Daemon going, go burn some seps or kill some younger folk. You know, none of that awful crap. So yeah, Amos Bracken was a Cajun who lived by himself in a swamp, and he hunted alligators for a living. Is anyone going to get a Jerry Reed reference? It was also a Primus song. Oh, I just realized that. Yeah, they covered it. Yeah, so Amos died already, but in the Battle of the Burning Mill in the books. All right, so then when the Jace meeting with the Freys is new. I'm not aware, at least. Maybe they mention it, but I never saw them mention that they go and meet on the Freys. The Freys on the bridge are Forrest Frey and Sabbatha Frey, according to like the credits. Though in the book they are described very different. Forrest was a gallant and powerful knight and once a suitor for Rhaenyra, and she called him Fool Frey, and it like caught on, but he used it like a term of endearment, I think. Maybe I'm making that part up, but that's what I thought. And then Sabbatha was considered merciless and grasping. She is said to have preferred women over men. Well, you know, she married Forrest, but besides that, I just pictured them like younger, right? And more like warriors. No offense to like the actors. I mean, whatever. I'm just saying it's not how I kind of pictured them a lot different, I guess. I don't know. Not the hashtag not my phrase. Phrase asking for Harrenhal is also a new thing. And yeah, it's really cool. I kind of like just showing the Frey ambition. And we've never heard of the phrase of Harrenhal, so assuming it doesn't work out, or else the phrase would be dead, because if they held Harrenhal, they would be dead. That's not a spoiler. Remember the phrase in the main books? Not a spoiler then. All right. Alyssa Targaryen is described very different in the books, with mismatched eyes, one violet and the other one green. And she has big ears with a lopsided smile. And at the age of 6, she broke her nose and it healed and crooked. So she is very different looking, right? None of that describes that actress. Though she was known for, I can't believe it, loving having sex with her family, but it's her brother, not her son. I can't believe I typed that and said that out loud to the internet. She loves it though. Like it's like the only thing we really learn about Alyssa is that she loves flying dragons. That she's like super crazy, like wolf blood. I mean, dragon blood. She's definitely not a wolf, right? She's absolutely not Alaric Stark and Good Queen Alicent's bastard. I didn't say that. Dude, who said that? Did you say that? But she might be. But yeah, she's got 2 different color eyes, and yeah, she just loves banging and riding dragons. That's like all the character we get out of her. So I had to leave that in. Where was I? That was awful. Aegon's injuries are worse, mostly because his armor isn't Valyrian steel. So we see them like pulling the Valyrian steel armor off him, and they like set his bones. Oh my god, it's wretched, right? And we see them yanking it. It's not Valyrian steel in the book, so the armor melts inside him. Ugh. Yeah, it's gnarly, bro. That's it. It's rough. Hugh and his family again. That's all new, and I'm not sure how I feel about Hugh. All right. Corlys gets named Hand at this time, but the idea is actually Prince Jaehaerys Valerian's, well, Prince Jace, right, to bring Corlys into the fold. So yeah, those are the major differences. There's probably other differences. It's just, you know, I don't want to just type every single little tiny difference. I just kind of, and I don't even type every big difference. I just kind of bring up the ones I feel like it, because it's my show. All right, that's it. Get out of here, guys. Good morning, and yeah, I'll see y'all later today with a different video. So catch you on the rebound. Peace.